Hello and welcome to Dungeon Crawler Video. You've heard of body horror. Now get ready for body haunting with body parts. It's pretty good. Do you want me to do my special voice? This week on Dungeon Crawler Video, This month, Dungeon Crawler Video is celebrating Dourif December with movies starring... Is it Brad or Bradford?
Bradford.
This month, Dungeon Crawler Video is celebrating Dourif December with movies starring Bradford Dourif.
What a hunk.
Psst. Body Parts starring Jeff Fahey.
Not Fahey.
Jeff Fahey.
Whatever. The transplant was a success. Then the donor came to take it back.
I'm just upset that that's the tagline, actually. Because that's like everything.
From Eric Red, the writer of Near Dark and The Hitcher, comes this bone-chilling tale of a medical experiment gone murderously wrong. Bill Cruikshank. Bill Cruikshank. Bill Cruikshank.
Give it a frame. So like...
Bill Cruikshank, played by Jeff Fahey, is a criminal psychologist who loses his arm and nearly his life in a grisly car accident. A daring medical operation follows in which a donor's arm is successfully grafted onto Bill's body. But after the operation, the arm starts to take on a violent life of its own, striking out against Bill's wife and children. Consumed by fears about his dangerous behavior, Bill is driven to learn the donor's identity. A horrifying discovery that delivers him into a world of unimaginable horror. Co-starring Brad Dourif.
I love that.
Graveyard.
Yeah, on the back cover it's just like, by the way, Brad Dourif.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, he's on the cover.
Yeah.
Doink.
He should be. The alternate taglines are, it will scare you to pieces.
Nice.
Way better than the other one. And then, where does evil live? The heart, the mind, or the flesh?
Where does evil live? Is evil in the flesh?
Also, I think the cover art for this is great. Jeff Fahey, his eyes throughout the entire movie are very, very intense.
I'll tell you.
Looking pretty cool. Yeah, his eyes are crazy.
He's in the camp of, is this man wearing eye makeup or not?
Yeah, he's part of that, like, Billy Zane, that other guy who was in Devil Wears Prada. The Gird Your Loins guy.
Stanley Tucci.
Yeah, Stanley Tucci. He's one of those dudes that always looks like he's got, like, a lot of mascara on. Paramount Pictures presents a Frank Mancuso Jr. production and Eric Red film. Jeff Fahey, Body Parts. Executive producer Michael McDonald. Really?
Oh!
He came from somewhere in a body parts. Sorry.
That's going in.
No. Michael McDonald produced this film, and then he went on to sing a song.
Okay.
Grafted an arm onto my body. He was a fucking murderer. In the beginning of this tape, specifically, there's like fucking 8 ads. One of them I really actually want to see is Demonic Toys.
Yeah.
That one looks fucking insane. It's a lot of practical effects and puppeteering and shit, and the ad for it is fucking cool.
I want to get to the movie now because you're getting to a good part behind you, which is the car accident.
Oh, the car accident's so good. Okay. Well, I mean...
Yeah, just be like the movie starts and basically we're right into...
Hey, the movie starts and basically we're right into a car accident.
He's a prison psychologist. And then...
He is a criminal psychologist. He teaches classes on this stuff and starts off with a very intense scene of him talking to a prisoner. He gets called in to validate this guy's sanity. If he's sane, then he would stand trial to get the electric chair or whatever they were doing in 1991 in whatever state they're in.
They do say fry, specifically.
Fry, yes. Yeah, they're going to fry him. But that's also just... I feel like that's just something that people say. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna fry for this. Like, that doesn't mean you're actually gonna get the electric chair in 1991, right?
Yeah, it did then.
Oh,
They were.
that's a bummer.
They were doing that to people.
I'm not gonna get into the politics of cruel and unusual punishment.
And the prison industrial complex.
Yeah. No.
Anyway, Paul Ben Victor.
Paul Ben?
Paul Ben Victor.
Paul Ben Victor has one of the best moments of anything that I've ever seen him in. Stand-up job. Goes from like laughing to crying in like 2 seconds.
Hats off to you, Paul Ben Victor.
Ben Victor.
Ben Victor.
So we establish Jeff Fahey's character, Bill, as a criminal psychologist. He's having a tough time trying to figure out how he feels about what he's doing. He kind of talks to his wife about it. We get to like learn about his like little turtleneck wearing fucking family, and they all wear satin pajamas and shit. Like, why was that a thing in the 90s?
It's good for your skin. It's like having satin pillowcases is good for your hair.
I don't have any of that. My hair looks great.
Well,
anyway, he has a perfect little family. They all love each other. They all like kind of joke with each other. They all wear turtlenecks and satin. There's like a weird part where like he says goodbye to each member of his family, and then the mom's like, all right, let's go say goodbye to dad. And then they all walk to the door and then say goodbye to him a second time, all in the span of like 30 seconds. And then he goes off to work. On the way there, you have like a very Final Destination Rube Goldberg type accident happen where he almost hits a car that loses a tire, and then a Mack truck hits him from behind and he flies through the windshield and then gets catapulted by another car, like just into the road, and he gets really fucked up. His whole family's distraught. His wife is in the hospital. And this British woman named Wells?
Dr. Agatha Webb.
I'm Dr. Webb.
Dr. Agatha Webb tells Bill's wife that she could save his arm with a transplant. So it's not really saving his arm, it's just giving him a brand new one.
The stunt double for Jeff Fahey, however you pronounce it.
Fahey.
The stunt double for Jeff Fahey almost died during the car crash scene when the force of the rear-end collision caused him to be ejected 50 feet into the air without a harness.
Oh shit, so he actually, like, that was real?
Fortunately, he wasn't injured, and the shot is in the final cut.
Oh my god, so we're watching we're watching a dude, like, almost lose his fucking life on screen.
If you watch it, it looks like a dummy crumpling, but it's a guy.
You used to have to go to Rotten.com for that kind of stuff.
Hey now.
R.I.P. Rotten.com.
And everyone on it. Bleak. Anyway. Moving on.
I think I just wrote Gary Newman with a question mark, because I was wondering if Jeff Fahey looked at all like Gary Newman. In my mind's eye, he did, and I looked it up. He does not. Sorry, Jeff Fahey or Gary Newman, however you want to play that.
Jeff Fahey's beautiful, so.
He is, sure.
Anyway, the wife signs off on this experimental surgery.
Yeah. As this is all happening, a lot of cops are walking down the hallway with a lot of guns. Like, each one has a shotgun. And just when you think all the cops pass by with their guns, more cops with more guns start walking by. You know, next thing you know, you're in this gigantic operating room, and there's a ton of doctors, or people dressed as doctors, and they all have shotguns. Bill's eyes are wide open, and he's looking around, and he's very confused. Webb comes up with the fucking bone saw, and she turns it on, and she's not wearing any eye protection, and blood just starts flying all over her fucking face. And and then the best thing at the front end of the movie happens, and that is a screen, like, showing the procedure, and there's just, like, a head popping off a body. With just, like, an absurd buzzer sound. Game over, bud! I don't know that you would just have that many doctors in a room holding guns against...
They're not doctors, they're the guards in PPE.
But why? Okay, but why are they in there?
We don't know until later that it was a convict.
Yeah.
So, like, to us going in blind into this movie, hypothetically, to be like, yeah, I guess there's 8 men with shotguns, like, in head-to-toe PPE, while this man gets beheaded across the room. There's, like, good things within that scene despite all the craziness, which I think the gore effects of the bodies, like Jeff Fahey going in with his arm off, being wheeled into the operating suite. That looks cool. Like,
Yeah.
his, like, meat looks cool.
Yo, Jeff Fahey, good meat.
Sick meat, dude.
Fahey wakes up and he's got a fucking new arm.
That shot is cool.
Yeah, him and like all the it's on tape.
Yeah.
He's like intubated, he's sitting up weird, he's got a bunch of shit all over his body. Webb, the doctor who gave him the new arm,
Bill,
always talks incredibly slow.
I'm Dr. Webb.
She explains to him that he has a new arm and it's going to be a hard process.
You lost your arm in a car accident yesterday. We've transplanted another arm for you.
She goes to show him his new arm. She takes the bandages off. You get a whole lot of this for no reason. So he gets his new arm, and there's like a rehab montage of him just like cranking stuff. And then he goes back home and says hi to his family. So then they want to see the arm.
Can we see the arm, Daddy?
Oh, honey.
Yeah.
You sure?
Sure.
And it looks all weird, and it scares the little girl, and it's kind of scares the son. But he's like, no, it's cool. Like, why don't we go throw the ball around? And
Tell you what, why don't we go out and throw the football around?
Says, you mean it, Pop?
you mean it, Pop?
You mean it, Pop?
Yeah, come on.
Really, Pop?
Even better, Pop?
And the daughter says, I still love you, Daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a fucking Frankenstein.
Yeah.
I still love you, Daddy.
So Dr. What the fuck is his name?
Bill Krushenk.
Dr. Bill Krushenk finally returns back to his classes teaching criminal psychology, and he starts talking about the morality of violence, and starts having like very weird flashes of violent imagery coming into his head, and we get more of that weird warpy camera stuff going on. He's just clearly having a hard time and not knowing why. He goes home and he's shaving, and he just loses control of his arm and just presses the fucking razor into his face and like freaks out, starts screaming. His family is obviously worried about him, and they're like, why is Dad screaming? And he's like, what the fuck are you looking at for no reason? Dad, you just cut your own face really badly for no reason. Of course I'm worried about you and I'm looking at you. And then he goes back to see Mr. Hyphen, and he looks like shit. And the patient is sort of like, hey, you kind of look like hell, man. You look like how I usually feel. What's going on? He's like, I'm fine. Look, I want you to trust me. And he goes out to shake his hand to say, like, I'm going to try to help you. They lock arms for a while, and then you see the prisoner's wrist, and then he turns his wrist over, and they have the same tattoo, indicating that they are both in prison for life. Dude fucking loses his mind. He's screaming. He's like, get away from me. Jeff Fahey is just like, I gotta get out of here, I guess. And now he's wondering where'd this arm come from. So he goes to see one of his like cop buddies, and he's like, run the print on this thumb, because somehow he's never seen this fucking tattoo or wondered where this arm came from at all. He finds out that this guy has a very long list of crimes. He goes to Dr. Webb, and he is like, why didn't you tell me this? She was like,
I chose not to tell you about Fletcher because I thought it would impede your recovery.
I didn't think it mattered. Like, you got a new arm, buddy. Like,
The psychological makeup of the donor is irrelevant.
what's the problem?
That arm can't do anything you don't want it to.
It's not the arm that's bad. It's you're just having a bad time recovering. He's like, no, I think there's something wrong with this arm. It feels weird. I'm having a weird time. And she's like,
Listen, Bill.
doesn't matter. Don't worry about it.
Any physical problems you have with the arm, I and my staff will be thrilled to help you with. But as to these other matters you're bringing up,
She's like, suck it up, go get some therapy.
well, I suggest you talk to a good psychiatrist.
Thanks for your time, Doctor.
He's doing some investigating of his own, trying to figure out where all these body parts went to. And one place is this guy got 2 brand new legs. Well, used, but new to him.
Secondhand.
Second-hand feet. Here's the thing. I just realized this. The dude who got this guy's legs is very tall. And Jeff Fahey is not very tall. This guy would have a very long arm.
And spoiler alert, Brad Dourif seems even smaller than
Brad
Jeff
Dourif,
Fahey.
let's get a height.
Okay. Brad Dourif is 5'9". Jeff Fahey's 6 foot. He's 6'4", by the way.
The proportions here have got to be weird. Like, maybe they sawed the arm down a little bit?
Nah. They also definitely do a thing with Brad Dourif and Jeff Fahey both, where they, like, are constantly flexing the hand, like, so it looks different.
Anyway, then he goes and figures out that Brad Dourif got the other arm. So he goes to Brad Dourif's apartment,
So, like, you want to arm wrestle or what?
And finds out that he is a painter.
Magic digit saved my life.
Brad Dourif is stoked about it. Brad Dourif's like, I've never painted better in my life.
Best work I have ever done. Best work anyone's ever done in this century, anyhow.
I used to do dog shit Cape Cod paintings of like seagulls, and now I'm painting stuff that the New York Times is writing about.
My dealer's phone never stops ringing. The New York fucking Times is talking about my searing original talent.
The images that Brad Dourif is painting are visions that Jeff Fahey is having in his like weird flashes of violent imagery. And he tries to convince Brad Dourif of this, and Brad Dourif really does not give a shit.
I'm sorry that you've got a problem with all this today.
My arm isn't doing anything weird. I'm not seeing anything weird. I'm just painting whatever comes out. And that's what's coming out, is this dude Charlie's past violence. Dourif asks him to leave, and okay, whatever. After he finds out that this guy was a convicted killer, he goes to the police station and finds the detective that booked him for all these murders. And this guy is dressed the way that you would expect a detective to dress, only it's the 40s. And it doesn't fit him at all. He's wearing like a suit that is a little too small for him, and he's wearing a hat that's also too small.
It's like they went through a costume closet and they were like, gee.
One detective, please.
Yeah.
Brad Dourif shoved him off, and now he's like, well, maybe I can talk to the guy with the legs. And he sees him playing basketball with them not long after. The timeline is very murky in this. They established that he was in physical therapy for 3 months, but like...
That guy was in physical therapy yesterday.
Yeah, this guy was barely using his fucking legs at all. And then all of a sudden he's like...
With the weird 90s sweatpants under shorts.
Yeah, that was a time. Dude was playing basketball just fine, but as soon as he gets in his car, his legs start acting weird. And he starts driving real funny and almost dies. And he has to pull over, and Bill runs over to him. He's like, hey, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. I just, like, something went weird. He's like, I think your legs are weird.
He says that and walks away.
I think your legs are fucked up, dude. I don't know. And he's like, yeah, I just got a new pair. And he's like, I got a new arm. Where'd you get yours? And he's like, some dead prisoner. And he's like, yeah, I know. Same guy. What's up? And he tries to talk to him about, hey, did you know that your legs came from a convicted murderer? And he's like, honestly, dude, I didn't have legs for like 2 years.
Lose your legs sometime, I'm telling you. All your other problems shrink to nothing in comparison.
I don't give a shit. So nobody really cares as much as Bill does.
Obviously, this movie requires a lot of suspension of disbelief. But the point that Jeff Fahey wakes up from his arm transplant surgery and she's like, move the arm, is absurd.
Yeah.
And like that they would feel anything or be able to use these limbs within like 2 years of the surgery.
Yeah. Shortly after he gets home, after the like only 3 months of physical therapy, he's able to use that thing on his wife, and she's having a good time. There's a whole bunch of scenes where he's trying to figure out why he feels this way and nobody else seems to care, and he's gradually just becoming more and more shitty to his fucking family. He's yelling at his wife just because she like startled him a little bit. At one point, he like beats the shit out of his kid for no reason.
Backhands him.
Yeah, but he uses the arm to backhand him.
He chokes his wife in her sleep.
She's not happy. He's not happy. He doesn't know what he just did, but he's like, look, I gotta get the fuck out of here. If this keeps happening, I'm going to kill my wife and kids with this arm. And he goes and stays in a hotel, and he has a really depressing fucking answering machine.
It's like a horny shock jockey that's depressed, though.
It's very weird.
This is Bill Krushank in exile. Current location, the Hillcrest Motel. Well enough about me. How are you doing? Leave a message at the beep and tell me all about it.
Yeah, he basically said, hey, I left my home because I have a haunted arm. Tell me about your day. He packs his shit, he leaves his house, and then he goes to the doctor. He's like, you gotta take this fucking arm off. Get rid of this for me. And she's like, fuck no. Like, you're my fucking cash cow, buddy. If this isn't a success, this is a problem. I wouldn't get rid of that arm for you or anybody else. Like, fuck you. And he says, fuck you, and she says, get the fuck out, and he's really fucking pissed. Rightfully so, because if I had a haunted arm and this lady wouldn't take it off, I wouldn't want to take it off myself. That would be a fucking really hard thing to do.
You could.
Really? I mean, I guess I could try. He's upset that the doctor won't take his arm off, or back off. Take the
new old arm back off.
Yeah. He's upset that the doctor won't take his new old arm back off. And so he calls up the other arm boy and the leg boy, and he says, why don't we get together and get these arms and legs talking about stuff that matters?
He wants to be around people who understand.
He can't talk to his family. He's afraid that he's going to hurt his family. He can't talk to the fucking doctor that did this to him because she won't help him at all. So he calls up the other two dudes that are part of this situation, and he goes to a bar, and they start drinking. And some fucking drunk asshole calls him an asshole.
Hey, asshole.
And is like, let me see the arm. Come on.
Come on, let's see the hand.
And he's like, I don't want to show you my fucking arm, dude.
It's just a hand, just like any other hand. You want to see mine, too? It's a matched pair.
And he calls him a freak.
You're some kind of fucking freak.
And Bill takes a bottle and smashes it over this guy's head. And then just like random bar people that you didn't see before at all just start lining up to try to fuck this dude up. And he wins almost the whole way through until somebody kicks him right in the chest.
It's not just somebody, it's Leg Boy.
The sound effects going in that fucking bar scene were insane. Also the costumes.
It does look like in that bar scene, they took a bunch of stuntmen and were like...
You all gotta have either leather or studded denim.
Yeah.
And they all did. This fight starts, it takes about fucking 5 seconds, the bartender is on the phone, and the cops were there in 10 seconds or less. And there were like 8 of them. And one of them is the detective that Bill spoke to earlier.
Which is also so weird. Like, why would
why is he showing up?
Yeah.
Like, the bartender doesn't know these people. He's not like, hey, the arm boys and the leg boys showed up.
Also on the phone, he says something that's just like, hey, cops.
Hello, police.
Yeah.
It's this bar. And then they're there.
Yeah. After the fight, it gets broken up and everybody leaves. Leg boy goes home and his legs are just not wanting to work for him. He's having a really hard time. He's like breathing heavy, he's just in pain, and he gets up to his apartment, he gets on the phone and immediately calls Dr. Bill. He gets the answering machine at first, and we get Dr. Bill's insane, weird answering machine message.
Leave a message at the beep and tell me all about it.
But Dr. Bill actually is there, and he picks up the phone. All he gets is no! He gets in his car, and he gets over there, and turns out he was too late. He calls his wife. He's freaking out. He's like, yo, you and the kids get out of there, go to your mom's. I gotta call the cops. So he calls the cops. They come over. The detective decides that he needs to question Bill a little more about this because it starts to seem suspicious.
I'll have to start asking them downtown.
As they're driving over there, they just happen to be passing Brad Dourif's apartment. Dourif is also having issues with his arm. Somebody is in his apartment and trying to take it off. Throws him out of a window, and everything but the arm falls down directly onto the detective's car.
The whole thing is actually, it's pretty well done.
Yeah, the slow motion glass breaking, you get a cool, like, fake dummy of Brad Dourif's head smashing through a fucking windshield.
Which looks really good.
It's very good. It's so good. There's no more suspicion on Bill because he couldn't have done it, I guess. I mean, maybe he could have. Maybe it was Bill and Webb. We'll never know.
Oh, the webs we weave.
Anyway, what happens after?
They get in a new car, and then they bump into Charlie, the guy.
Bump into him.
Literally.
Yeah. They're driving in a brand new police cruiser, and somebody pulls up next to him, and Bill's just got his new old arm out the window, and the guy's like, "Gotcha!" And he like slaps a pair of cuffs on him. You know what? I don't think we ever established where the rest. Oh, because it's his head's on somebody else's body.
It's just somebody's body. Yeah. And then he has.
But he wants his limbs back.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense because like you're fine right now.
They're his limbs.
He's got to get them.
He's got to get them. He's got the arm that he loaned to Dourif on the dashboard, and the legs from the leg boy back in the backseat.
Paradise by the dashboard arm. So
there is a long car chase where the cars have to stay very close together because Bill doesn't want to lose his arm, and Charlie, the convicted killer, wants his arm back. Bill gets the gun and shoots the chain of the handcuffs, and they are able to finally break apart at the last second, last ditch effort before something monstrous could happen.
Last stitch effort.
Charlie gets away. Somehow Bill, I think, just steals the police cruiser from the detective.
It's a very low effort steal. He kind of just drives away. The police detective is just kind of like, whatever, man.
He just gets in the car and starts chasing after Charlie.
Charlie crashes the car. He gets out of the car and is carrying this bundle of limbs.
And he's running away from the car, and another car hits it and it explodes. But Bill's still after him, so Bill's chasing him down and ends up at Dr. Webb's office?
Because, yeah, Dr. Webb walks up to Charlie after the explosion and puts a blanket around him or something.
Right. Dr. Webb was in on it from the get. Charlie and Dr. Webb end up back in the hospital, and you see a cool, tank filled with all the limbs, and they're, kind of twitching, so, somehow they're keeping these limbs animated.
And peeing.
Peeing?
There's a whole full catheter bag underneath the torso.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good detail.
Body's gotta pee. I don't know where it's getting hydrated.
IVs.
But, whatever. They're gonna try to reassemble this guy. And I think Dr. Webb is in on it just purely to see if she can. Bill follows them in and has a gun to Webb's head, and he's like, what the fuck? And Charlie comes up behind him and knocks him out. What happens first?
Okay, he gets knocked out. He wakes up strapped to the table.
Yeah.
He's getting gassed. He starts screaming no, and they're like, what? And then he yoinks out of the restraints. He, hits the nurse guy, punches the lady, and then he's fighting with Charlie, while almost getting shot with a shotgun. But then he breaks Charlie's neck. He, takes off his cast. And so his, vulnerable neck is exposed.
Yeah, but Charlie doesn't die. It gets fucking nuts for a minute, and you don't really know what happens, but Charlie somehow gets a revolver and tries to shoot Bill. Bill's quick with the shotgun. He shoots Charlie, and Charlie shoots Webb. And everybody's dead but Bill. And I don't really remember.
Then Bill shoots all the body parts also.
Bill, in an effort to make sure that none of these body parts ever have a chance to go on anybody else's body ever again, he just starts laying waste to all the flesh in that weird tank. And it's pretty cool. But he's still got his own arm. He's claimed that flesh for his own now. That's his now.
Also, one of the shots that I also like just happened where he breaks Charlie's neck and Charlie falls in a slack-jawed manner.
Yeah, the dude who played Charlie did a really great job at looking like he just got his neck broken.
Do you know why?
Why?
Fun fact. Why he has no lines in this movie also is because he's a stuntman. He didn't get hired because he's a good actor. He got hired because he's a good stuntman.
Do you think maybe they didn't give him lines because it would be weird for a person who just got a head transplant to be able to talk?
Yes, but also, wouldn't it also be weird for a guy who just got a leg transplant to be dunking on people?
Yeah, we established that. That's weird.
Yeah, so it wraps up with him in the park with his wife, and he's journaling, which has been a through line through this movie for some reason.
Yeah.
That he writes in his journal, and there's a monologue. But he's journaling I haven't had any problems with the arm since Charlie died. And then that's it.
Yeah. And then the movie ends.
What was your favorite shot also?
Oh, catapult. Car catapult. Absolutely.
Favorite gore?
Oh, when Dourif's arm gets ripped off. It's amazing.
Yeah.
They do such a good job when Dourif's arm gets ripped off.
I don't like the ease with which it was ripped off.
He just got it put on there, not long ago.
Yeah, but he's using it.
Dungeon Crawler Video is now pleased to bring you a deleted scene that should have stayed in the movie.
Another fun fact is that this movie came out in theaters just weeks after Jeffrey Dahmer was apprehended.
They would not play this movie in Wisconsin?
Milwaukee. They took down like all advertisements for it, and like wouldn't run ads for it on local TV and shit like that.
That probably makes sense.
I think it's nice.
Yeah, that's fine.
They were like, this crazy hurt the earnings, and it's like, I don't think Milwaukee, Wisconsin was going to be your big earner on this one. Either way.
Blaming the not success of this movie on Jeffrey Dahmer is insane.
My main complaint about this movie, not enough Dourif.
You gotta stop torturing yourself. Lay off the metaphysical speculation. It's a waste of fucking time, you know what I'm saying?
I think that was the right amount of Dourif, to be honest. I'm gonna give this movie 3 bones.
Nice.
It's fun. It's a little hard to follow sometimes, and like there are a lot of really weird decisions, but visually awesome. The editing's great. The acting is actually not fucking bad at all. Brad Dourif does a great job. Brad Dourif is a shining star. In everything I've seen Dourif in, I have no complaints.
That's why we're doing Dourif December.
A good arm boy.
I have to point out that you gave Satan's Supper 3.5 bones.
Yeah, because that movie's insanely good.
I think this movie's better than Satan's Supper.
You're not the one doing the bone rating. You should watch this movie if you like body horror. Watch this movie if you love Brad Dourif. Slow British voices. Turtlenecks?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it should just be watch this movie if you love Brad Dourif.
Watch this movie if you love Brad Dourif. The end. And turtlenecks, maybe.
Yeah.
You make that choice there.
Yeah.
All right.